fluctuations of mood, the winter and the summer of our emotions, are part of a normal human experience. So there will be periods that a person feels happy, there will be a period that people feel unhappy. Depression is not the same thing as those ups and downs of mood. So Allah talks about these ups and downs a lot in the Quran actually. So saying, for example, the most explicit mention of this is huwa alladhi adhaka wa abka. He is the one who makes you laugh and the one who makes you weep. So he brings scenarios that make you feel sad, and he brings scenarios and situations that make you happy. So this is part of normal human experience. Depression is really about a low mood that you cannot snap out of. So it's a period where you feel extremely low for a long period of time, weeks at a time, and you just can't seem to snap out of it no matter what you do. Someone described it once to me as it's like food with no spice in it. It's like when all the color has gone out of the world. You can't find happiness in things at all. You don't feel happy. The things that normally would make you happy, you don't feel happy. You might find that your appetite is disrupted. Your sleep, you find yourself waking up in the middle of the night, unable to get back to sleep again. You might find yourself becoming very anxious. You might find your thoughts racing in your mind, that you're overanalyzing things and you can't seem to stop. And the thing that makes a depression pathological is when you can't stop it. You can't snap out of it no matter what you do. And you find yourself feeling helpless. You might find yourself saying, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me as a person? You start feeling worthless. You start becoming hopeless and despairing. And this is really when you need to think, is this just a normal period of sadness, or am I actually engulfed in a depression? So, as I mentioned, from a religious point of view, the idea that people sometimes have that if you have faith, you won't become depressed. This is not correct. Depression has elements that are about psychology, the way that you think about things. There are elements of it that are spiritual, how you are relating this to your ultimate goal and your ultimate purpose. But there are also aspects of it that relate to your social circumstances and situations, things that are going on, unfortunate events that are happening in your life, and also elements that are completely internal, that are biological, that there is simply not enough of a particular hormone or a particular enzyme in your body. For example, serotonin, you will often hear people talk about serotonin. Biologically, it's a bit more complicated than that, but there is something about the way in which your brain is functioning. So don't assume that if you are in an episode of depression, it means that you don't have enough faith. It may simply be the fact that your brain is simply not working as it is supposed to be working at that moment. Now, having said all of this, what can you do about it? Well, the first thing to do is to acknowledge it. The first thing to do is to recognize that you are in this very low period. Sometimes you'll find that it's not you who recognizes it first, it's the people around you who recognize it first. So listen to what other people are saying. When they're saying this is not like you, or you didn't used to be like this, or is something wrong, are you okay? That's sometimes a warning sign. And the Prophet ﷺ said, Al-mu'min mir'atun li akhihi. The believer is a mirror to his brother. You will often therefore find things that you can't see about yourself reflected in other people, reflected in other people's responses to you. Other people may notice it before you notice it. It's a beautiful hadith. There are other meanings to it as well, but this is one of the approaches you can take to this particular hadith. The hadith, a believer is a mirror to their brother, means that you will sometimes find that people sense subtle changes in you, the people around you, especially the people who love you, sense subtle changes in your mood, in your emotions and so forth, before you yourself realize that there's a problem. So number one is acknowledge it. Number two, recognize that there is a certain period, there's a certain intensity or severity that you can seek to manage yourself. Beyond that, you may need the help of other people, family, friends, and so forth, to help you get out of it. And beyond that, there is professional help. Now, this isn't something that is only recognized or understood in Western circumstances or Western systems. This is something, what I've just said to you now, is something that was actually said in these words by Abu Zayd al-Balkhi, who was a 10th century Muslim intellectual and physician from Baghdad. So 1,000 years ago, he classified forms of mental distress, both in terms of types, this is depression, this is anxiety, and so forth, but also in terms of intensity and when you require what. So it's important to recognize when it is affecting you, and that's about two things: severity and duration. Then it is important to recognize when you can manage it yourself, when you need the help of family and friends, or your local imam, or a halaqah, a spiritual circle around you that can help you, and when it has gone beyond that and you actually need professional help. The professional help comes in a number of forms. Sometimes it's about, you might get advice about things like exercise, diet, and so forth. Sometimes it might be about therapy. Sometimes it might be about medication. You don't have to be scared of any of these things. All of them are perfectly acceptable approaches. And we remember that there is no illness that Allah has sent down except He has not sent its cure with it. So don't allow yourself to get stuck in this. Make sure that you are keeping an eye on yourself, that you are taking care of yourself. Remember that the Prophet ﷺ said that a person should be merciful. There are many hadiths about mercy. Irham man fil ardi yarhamkum man fis sama. Have mercy to those on the earth, and the one who is beyond the heavens will have mercy to you. But you are also on the earth. So don't forget to have a little bit of compassion for yourself, a little bit of mercy for yourself. And remember always that this is part of your journey. You will be okay eventually, in this world and in the hereafter. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Assalamu alaikum.